know, it's funny. The Blair Witch Project was absolutely huge, but its 2016 sequel, not so much. Who could forget the classic tale of the Blair Witch? Some witch in the woods.
No one cares.
But we all believed this was real, and it blew up found footage and even the horror genre as a whole. Just a year later, it even got a sequel, but it wasn't found footage. Some meta-style crap that acknowledged Blair Witch was a movie within the movie, as these completely unlikable arseholes check out some woods and pretty much the exact same thing happens. Except they try to be smarter than they are, none of it makes any sense, and you don't really care if they die. A third installment was planned as early as 2009, but directors Ed Sanchez and Daniel Myrick had to get the go-ahead from the studio and find coinciding schedules, delaying things, though they always remained optimistic that it would be made. The film was actually made in complete secrecy under the name of The Woods, the actors even auditioning without knowing what they were auditioning for. It was even filmed in a completely different location in Canada, so they wouldn't be disturbed and the secret wouldn't be exposed. It wasn't until the 2016 San Diego Comic-Con when the trailer dropped and revealed itself to be, in fact, the third Blair Witch movie, much to the fans' surprise. And also called Blair Witch. What is it with these sequels taking place years later and having really lazy titles?
Fuck this, I'm out.
The movie did make a huge profit, but nowhere near as much as the first film. It doesn't even acknowledge the second one's existence, by the way, and I think that we can all agree that that's for the best. But it got mixed to negative thoughts. Some found it a new interesting direction, but others felt like it added nothing new, and it was just a carbon copy of the original movie. However, unlike the original, every piece of dialogue in this film is entirely scripted. 20 years after Heather and her friends vanished in the woods filming their documentary, her brother James finds a video on YouTube from the same house, and upon inspecting a freeze frame, he's convinced that he can see her. Believing that she's still alive, what, living as a fucking caveman? He and his mates, whose names don't really matter, black guy, black girl and white girl, head off to meet the YouTuber who uploaded it, Lane and his girlfriend Talia, but they insist on going with them. My biggest question is, why hasn't James tried anything like this sooner? It's been 20 years.
For as long as I've been friends with James, he's wondered what happened to her.
He never went to the woods himself to check? But they are heavy believers in the paranormal while the others aren't, so in a way to try to convince them, they do provide fake evidence.
Hey, listen, stop it, man! Listen, we weren't trying to scare you or anything, we weren't lying about the things that are going on in these woods,
Well, you were. You faked them.
Alright, but look, we faked it because it's real.
What? And of course, real events start taking place, leading them back to the house at the end for the final showdown. Ooh! First of all, I want to dispute the argument that this is just the first movie all over again, that it offers nothing new and it's just a carbon copy. This movie goes out of its way to update technology. It's been 17 years since the first movie, so it's cool for them to make these advancements using GoPros and even a drone. Although, why the hell do they record themselves in a club? What does this have to do with anything? And why are they wearing the GoPros in the damn club? And the girl's hair is clearly covering the camera, but then we cut to their POV and it's absolutely clear. But I don't see how it's the same story again. The first film, they were researching the Blair Witch. Here, the objective has completely changed. They're hunting for James's sister and are then chased. They don't even believe in the supernatural crap this time around. We do get more of the Blair Witch mythology though, and it's not a camping trip without scary stories around a campfire. Yeah, I forgot to mention, one problem this film has is the damn jump scares. They don't even make any sense. They're just walking quietly and then all of a sudden... You guys hear that? Stop sneaking up on each other at night!
Everyone stop doing that.
Yes! Please! Stop that! I swear to God, there are so many cheap jump scares in this otherwise pretty scary horror movie. It just feels unnecessary and unneeded. They mean the same thing. Yeah, I do find the movie scary and eerie. They have nice throwbacks to the original, like with the old stick figures, and their watches have also been changed, like they've slept for hours.
Okay, yeah.
You know what, Ashley's right, let's just pack up our stuff and get back to my car, okay?
No. Are you sure?
Yeah, this is too weird. I don't know, we found something, right? Like, we can show the footage to the police. Maybe they'll reopen Heather's case.
Yeah. A witch did it. Although sometimes I do feel like they retread material. The time travel stuff is new and cool and everything, but then they realise they've been walking in circles all day. Things like this didn't really need repeating too much. Then they have a night vision camera propped up to record all night, but yeah, it's exactly the same as the first movie. The YouTubers even turn up again and claim it's been 5 days since they've last seen them, despite it only being a few hours.
The sun is not coming up.
So how would you know it's been 5 days? Their alarms go off despite it still being night. These are cool ideas and really gives you a sense of dread. One complaint I have is that you don't really get to know these characters. The first one, we spent 80 minutes getting to know them. It was just 3 people in a forest, so you had no choice but to get to know them. But here, we don't really. I mean, the black guy is a funny skeptic.
So this one, it was really interesting where you guys found this little pile of rocks.
But that's it, you root for James to find his sister, and his story arc is interesting, but we never really get to know anything about him or the others. The YouTubers are just voodoo weirdos, they're not developed on much either. Although I love the stereotype that the black characters in horror movies die first. Or here, they're pussies who hide while the dumb white people go out to investigate. And the safe black people are still the ones to go first. I mean, Black Girl gets a messed up leg but spots the drone that crashed earlier in the film, and scales the tree for it. What the hell are you doing? What's the drone gonna do? It's night time! The sound design is amazing in this. Black guy is on the run after he hears some creepy ass noises, but we still don't see anything. It leaves everything up to the imagination, much like the first film did.
He always loved climbing on trees. Now a tree's climbed on him.
The effects look great, and listen to these sounds. They're insane. But some of the POV shots just look really weird and awkward. I liked the GoPros earlier, but now it's just odd. One of them hurts their leg, and this was apparently completely practical. I thought this was some CGI worm or something, but no, it's meant to be the root of a tree. People crapped on the effects, but this looks incredible, man. It really is an amazing and nostalgic moment when they reach the old house. The acting on both parts is amazing, and it's such an emotional sequence. Probably my favourite of the entire film. It really needs to be seen to be appreciated. And it gets even creepier inside as James finds Peter standing in the corner. We also see brief shots of Heather in the background. This whole third act is genuinely terrifying to me. White girl gets scared and runs into the house, and even though I'd already seen it in the cinema, I am still on the edge of my seat. I already know what happens, and I am still amped. They have amazing throwbacks like her going past Heather's camera and everything, before she gets trapped in a claustrophobic tunnel to make it even scarier. Weirdly though, she keeps throwing her camera, which has a torch above it, down the tunnel so she can see, but surely that would just blind her? I mean, wouldn't she need to point the torch away from her to see down the tunnel? Dozy cow. Oh, and the ghost suddenly sounds bloated and gassy. Poor girl. And it's all a paradox. This was the footage that was on YouTube earlier that led them here in the first place. So, the Blair Witch is on YouTube. It's the only explanation, right? She would have had to have uploaded it. Blair Witch is on YouTube. Wonder if she watches my videos. But they somehow figure out can't look the Blair Witch in the eye and face away from her. It's really cleverly done. Yeah, until James hears Heather's voice, turns around and dies. Gotta admit, I didn't see that coming. Fully expected him to be the sole survivor. Who knew? But White Girl uses her camera's LCD screen to look behind her, which is a genius move. And people also bitched because we actually see the Blair Witch. Despite you all bitching that we saw nothing in the first film. The thing is, this was 2016. You had to see something now. If you didn't, what's the point? Found footage has evolved so much since the first movie that it had to be done. It's only brief glimpses and it's flat out terrifying. And White Girl's acting is truly some of the best I have ever seen. You really feel like her life's been ruined. She's lost her mind. Yeah, until she hears James's voice, has learned absolutely nothing and also gets taken out. Honestly, this is one I just adore. Sure, sometimes the jump scares are annoying and they're unnecessary. Sometimes it does linger too long on old points and the characters need more fleshing out, but I think it's a nice little rescue story with a final act that truly makes the movie worth watching. It's a pretty damn good sequel, in my book. But apparently they're actually working on another film for the franchise. and I just don't know how they're going to keep making them without them becoming really repetitive. What the hell's going on?